In this guide, we'll look at using the inventory flow. So the inventory flow is how game makers can set up items in a grouping of inventory for their players. And there's two parts to it. First of all is adding the item or items into the game. We'll take a look at doing that. And then it's granting those items to your players. In this case, I'll grant one of these test items to myself so we can see it render using the inventory flow. So here we are inside a pretty empty Beamable project. I have already added an icon for us to use. And what we'll do here is we'll bring out the inventory flow. So what I want to show is that when we drag out the inventory flow and we play here, that because we haven't yet set up the content, we won't see anything render here. So here we are in the playing scene. We're going to come back to this later with a bit more inventory shown, but this is our starting point. So now to get to the next step, we're going to open up the content manager. And we'll see down here that there's an items area of the content, but we don't have any items yet. So let's go ahead and add one. So I'm going to add an apple. So I'm adding perhaps I have a game that's based about fruit and I have apples, oranges, bananas, etc. And the first one of these items here is apple. I decide to create it as an item and to use the inventory because this is a type of content that some users have and some users don't have. And they could maybe spend that, earn that within the gameplay, for example. So here we have the apple. I'm going to click on the apple and take a look at the inspector for that item. Maybe I'll keep everything over here. So the inspector for that item has some additional fields. Now, depending what type of content we're manipulating in the content manager, there might be more robust set of fields here that we can interact with. For us here with the apple, the thing that we can do is choose from any of the addressable assets of the sprite type, which is the display graphics for this. So I'm going to choose the apple graphic that I've set up. So now it's ready to be rendered, and it's in the content on the client side. So a couple more steps here. Before the game itself knows about this, I need to publish this content change. So I can see next to the apple we have this cloud with a plus, which indicates that the item has not yet been uploaded. So let's go ahead and publish. We get a prompt here confirming what's going to be published, and we'll go ahead and do that. Now we see that we've got the green check mark, which indicates that the data is in sync with the cloud, as it said here, or the portal on the back end. Okay, so if we were to run here, we would have a game that now supports the ability to own a apple item, but my character that I'm logged in doesn't have that item yet because either C# needs to be added to grant that in your gameplay, or because it's a bit quicker and easy, I'm just going to go into the portal and grant myself one of these items. So let's take a look at how to do that. So first, I need to know who I am as the player. We've seen this in some of the other tutorial areas, but I'll repeat it here. In the toolbox, we'll drag out an admin flow. Now, when I play the scene, the admin flow does not render to itself, but I can use the tilde key on my keyboard to open it up. From there, I can ask, who am I logged in as, and get that information, and that'll help me with the next step. So here I am in the running game. Make it a little bit bigger. I'm hitting the tilde key here, and I'll type dbid to get that ID number that I have. So we'll take a look at copying that value, and then I will open up the portal. So here we go. Open up the portal in my favorite browser, and I'll go into our project, and I'll search for a player by that ID number. So here I am. This is me playing in the game. And I can come down here and I can add an item. Now, when I add an item within the portal, it will show me any of the items that have been added and published to the back end. It's important that we remember that step. So we'll go ahead and I'll give myself an apple here. There's other values that I can set here, and based on your needs, you can populate that maybe possessing the item gives me a strength of 10, or possessing an orange gives me a strength of 5. Those kinds of values and additional data could be done here. But I'll just take it like that and give myself that item. Now back in the game, let's go ahead and run and see what we've got. So I hit play here. I'm back in that inventory flow that we took a look at the very beginning of this lesson. But here, because we've both created the apple item and granted it to myself as a player, we see that it's rendered there. You have full control over how that inventory is rendered. There's additional steps that you can do to customize the look and the feel, but here in the default vanilla look, we see that we've got that item rendered, and it's small text, but it's indicating that I have one of them, and it shows the title. That's it.